In a world where you can't avoid discrimination, heard so many thoughts that you feel afraid. Afraid in your communities, afraid in your daily lives, and worst, afraid in your own skin. Now, let's try to discover a classic literary work that we can associate with those fear. And it is entitled We Wear the Mask by Paul Laurence Dunbar. It was first published in 1895 in Dunbar's collection. Dunbar was nationally recognized as a black poet. This is a poem about the lives of the black individuals in the United States after the Civil War, where there was segregation. The speaker and his intended audience wear a mask that shows them to be happy and contented while they are suffering inwardly. I can say that this poem is a clear manifestation of reality about racism, since this poem is inspired by the experiences of black individuals and is still also present anywhere. This poem can be painful and frustrating to everyone because we all have different understanding and experiences about racism. Some have been hurt directly, some have seen it from a distance, some experience it through labor and education, and worst, some don't see any problem with it at all. It's hard to admit that with this issue, it is still continuously evolving. It is painful to see and hear inequality towards those people who are trying to belong themselves to society, but because of the cruel world, instead of receiving equal opportunity, they are mistreated, degraded, and bullied because of who and what they are. In other social content, I can also interpret this poem as a reflection to all of us, where we wear a mask, not literally wearing a mask, but because, yes, we are smiling, yet we are bleeding inside, with different personal reasons. It is our own way to pretend and continue living this unfair world, since we have no choice but to keep going despite what life throws us. I appreciated the organization of this poem, where in the first stanza, the speaker writes that he and his audience must wear a mask that hides their pain and suffering. The next stanza asserts that the world has no right to know one's personal suffering. And the third is about the suffering that is behind the mask. Dunbar also uses literary devices to enhance the artistry of his work. He used the idea of wearing a mask as a metaphor, as a comparison of a social performance where the speaker is performing by appearing to be happy while they are totally suffering. Symbolism is also present with this poem. The mask in We Wear the Mask is used as a symbol that stands for another concept. The mask is not meant literally, but is meant as a symbol that represents hidden emotions and thoughts. We Wear the Mask is a classic, relatable poem where it targets the idea of affecting one's personal emotions. Racism is a vital issue that needs to be addressed because we can't have a society worth celebrating unless we guarantee freedom from the fear of every person who gives their country their love, labor, and life, but they're treated opposite and worst.